Welcome to English C1000, typically referred to as freshman composition. And we're here in a summer school environment online. Yes, that means we have some special challenges ahead of us. The English C1000 is the first semester of transfer level English, right? It's the first semester course of transfer English, transfers all around the country, whether you're going to San Diego State, Cal State San Marcos, UCSD, or private schools like University of San Diego, Point Loma Nazarene, or places up and down the whole state of California and even across the nation. So it's a really important class. Also, for many students, this may be the only class that you take, an English class, to learn how to write. Now, that's not true for everybody. Some of you will take the second semester class as well, the C1001. But a pretty large number of you, this will be the only class that you take of English in college. And so it's important to me that I do right by you. And that means, and I want you to understand right from the beginning, this is not a knowledge-based class. This is a skill-building class. I'm not going to fill your minds with a whole lot of data, things of that nature. And I'm not putting down classes where that's important, because it is important in some fields. But this is all about reading, writing, and critical thinking. We're going to do a lot of writing, do a lot of reading, hopefully along the way, some critical thinking. We're going to learn how to use library research, which, by the way, doesn't mean you have to walk into the library to do it. We have a wonderful library, which has a lot of resources available online. Many students choose to do that. Some students choose not to use our library. That's fine, that's on you. But it's a little harder on you to produce great stuff if you don't use our library. But nevertheless, this is all very important to your future college success. Reading skills, writing skills, critical thinking skills, research skills, and the documentation of that research, all very valuable things to know. They'll help you no matter what your major is, no matter what your field of study is, no matter what you're interested in the long run, even if it has nothing to do with English at all. Okay. So we hit the ground running in this class because, again, it's an 8-week semester, which means we have a lot to do in half the time that we normally would have to do. So one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give to you is don't procrastinate. When an assignment is given out, look at it. Read the instructions. I know from experience, some students have a habit of not looking at something until the day it's due. And in some cases, that's going to be pretty tragic because some of the stuff that we're doing will take more than one day to do. Okay. To do well, I should say. Okay. And that's obviously the point. We want to do it well. So keep that in mind. Don't just, if something's due on Friday, don't wait until Thursday night or Friday morning to take a look at it. Take a look at it right away. And then you can gauge your time when you're going to get whatever done. Because as the online class, you choose the time that you work, but you don't choose the due dates and the due times. Most of the assignments have a due date with the time of 11:59 p.m. In other words, if something is due on a Friday, you have that whole Friday to get it done. But late work that, is late for no good reason, if you don't have a legit excuse, gets a 0. 0 points. And we don't want to pick that up. Nobody wants that. That's not good. Okay. Now, over the course of the semester, a couple things are going to be happening all the time. One, almost immediately, you're going to have discussion threads. In fact, your first discussion thread will be due on Wednesday, right? We have a Wednesday and a Friday due date. We have 8 discussion threads for 8 weeks of the semester. So you have initial comments that will be due by Wednesday, two replies due on Fridays. Okay? Keep that in mind. Also, we'll be working on essays. And again, almost immediately, we'll be doing that. In fact, first day of the semester is the first day writing assignment. Now, this is a low point, low stress, getting to know you kind of activity. But it's going to be followed up pretty quickly by our first official essay. And we'll have 4 essays. They'll be due every 2 weeks for 8 semesters. So we have reading to do, we have writing to do, and of course we engage critical thinking. Now there's only one textbook for the class called Monsters. It looks like this if you get a print version. It is available in ebook format as well. And the assignments, the writing assignments, are based on what's in the book. Okay, and there's some latitude about where to go with some of these writing assignments. Absolutely. But monsters is the theme of the class. Okay. Why study monsters? I hear that every semester. Why study monsters? They don't exist. Really? They don't exist? Wow. If you pay attention to the word monster, or monsters, or monstrous, or monstrosity, words like that, you'll start to become aware of just how often they are used. And we call people or things monsters. We're not always talking about some imaginative creation of literature or cinema. Sometimes we're talking about people. Sometimes we're using it as maybe an exaggerated description, and sometimes maybe it's not as exaggerated as we'd like to think. Monsters takes us into the realm of human experience, though. Why do we create the monsters that we create? Why in the past did we have the monsters that we had? What monsters do we have today that we didn't have before, and why? What are the monsters that perceive the future? We talked a lot about, science fiction. You have space aliens. You have artificial intelligence. Robots. Oh my gosh. Is that the future or is that today? I forget. Yeah, the past. And you have those monsters, those classic vampires and werewolves and witches and dragons and mermaids. We see them across the country, across the world, across centuries. They're there with us. Why? It's a good question to ask. It's a very good question to ask indeed. And that's what we're going to do in this class this semester.